It's Neil McKay, aka the late great Buddy Black, and with me as always is Rob Ayers.
Hello.
Rob and I found love and friendship writing a comic book together called the Story on the Road to Waterloo, which
Yep.
is just about as benign a vampire comic as you will ever read. We're really excited about it, and we love horror, and we love just sort of talking nonsense about it, and
It's true.
we thought we'd like to subject the masses to it. So
Yeah.
here we are again,
Yeah, here we are with Big Human Dead.
Big Human Dead.
Right on. And tonight we have something on our mind.
Yes.
Which,
Yes.
Speaking of
Yes, we do. Actually, so as many people know, as probably like 80% of the world's population knows.
At least.
I am about to be a father.
maybe
and,
a little less than 80%. No, maybe about 80%.
Probably 80%.
Maybe like 78%.
Yeah.
Okay.
I put a lot of flyers out there. I would imagine.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, let's cut to the chase here. So we had the baby shower the other day,
Uh-huh.
and my mother's across the street neighbor, Norma, and like, when's the last time you met a 22-year-old named Norma?
22-year-old named Norma. Like
No, she's not 22. She's like 100. Like, she's
Yeah.
super old. Yeah. Anyways,
yeah.
she gave us a card,
Norma.
and on the card was a cross out in the middle of the desert.
Wow.
That was the front of the cross. Sorry, that was the front of the card. Was this giant wooden cross
What?
out in the middle of like the desert? I'm
Wow.
assuming around Jerusalem.
Yeah.
And the present she gave us was
Oh.
we'll put this on the like sort of the podcast website, or
Yeah.
I don't know how this works.
Oh my
But
goodness.
this terrifying sort of stretchy kind of Stretch Armstrong clown made out of donut things.
That's rough.
Yeah, this is the year 2015, by the way, and nobody likes clowns anymore. Like
No.
so yeah, this terrifying little monster. So
Wow.
my wife and I had a conversation, and we've
Uh-huh.
decided to love and care for this baby that we're gonna have.
Oh, right
So,
on.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
a bold strategy.
You know,
See how it
it's-
works out for you.
yeah. Well, I mean, obviously we'll see how it goes, but we've always been sort of against the grain sort of people, anyways.
Right
So,
on.
as
Yeah.
such, we are not going to subject our child to this terrifying clown.
Okay. Fair enough.
And yeah, I think maybe what I'd like to talk about today is not just things that scared us as children, but maybe specifically some horror stuff
Okay.
that was made specifically for children,
Oh, yeah.
like
yeah.
Goosebumps and Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Okay.
And we could even get into some movies like The Darkness or Gremlins or whatever
yeah,
it
The
is. We
Darkness.
can talk about that. I think that might be
Right
fun.
on. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah. So Rob, tell me,
Yes.
what was the first like TV show or movie or whatever it is? It doesn't even have to be horror that
Okay.
scared the Jesus out of little young Robbie.
For me, it was okay. I love my parents,
Mm-hmm.
but I think in some areas they had really little either little self-control or just, I don't know, maybe they just spaced on the decision-making process, because I can remember watching horror movies with my mother since I can remember. Since
Really?
I remember cartoons, and then I remember horror movies during the double feature thriller creature whatever on every Sunday.
Yeah.
And there's one particular image from the movie The Crazies from George Romero. And
How old were you?
I don't know. I was too young to remember exactly how old I was. But I remember this one image of all of the government, the army workers coming through the field in their gas masks and their hazmat suits, and all the townspeople freaking out and running away, and they're one of the townspeople stabs one of the soldiers with a pitchfork, and the soldiers are confused. And I don't remember the conflict at all, but it's really just the image of these hazmat soldiers with the gas mask coming in a line, just sweeping across this field. And this, I think, is one of the first like really scary images. And there's also in the opening credits of this double feature show, there was a couple images I remember of like a person all in red with this crazy red gown and cowl, and then it immediately cuts to someone opening a huge Bible, and when they open the Bible, this like yellow green venom spits out and burns their face.
Cool.
Yeah, and so this is really my first image of horror as a really young child, and I would watch these movies every Sunday with my mom. All the Vincent Price movies, those aren't really horror. Those are really more fun.
Well, yeah,
but sometimes they
depends who you are, I guess.
That's true. Sometimes they would slip
Dance of the Dead scared the shit out of me. I know that's not Vincent Price, but like
Dance of the Dead, yeah.
That's literally the worst movie I've ever seen. I think. Like, I shouldn't even say that. I shouldn't say that. I know that's not Vincent Price. I know that's Creswick. It was the drinking man's Vincent Price.
Right. Drinking man's. Yeah. Vincent Price is like tequila, and then Kreskin is like mezcal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You want something a little refined, or do you want a worm in the bottom of your bottle?
Yeah, Creswick was the best. Like Creswick. Just when he would just stand up, like he was just always standing up and sitting down. Oh God. Yes. I love that man.
Totally.
Anyways, actually, Vincent Price is a pretty cool segue to the hilarious House of Frightenstein.
I don't know this one.
No?
No.
You're a Michigan boy.
I know.
That's
hilarious
bananas.
House of Frightenstein. Okay,
yeah. So it was like sort of this children's variety show.
Okay.
Only I mean, like all of the ghouls in the castle and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Had their own thing going on. So like there was the Wolfman, who was like Wolfman Jack, and he'd play like psychedelic trippy music.
Oh, this sounds really familiar.
Yeah, and then there was like a witch who would like make potions.
Okay.
And
was the Dracula character kind of like an amalgamation of Dracula and some kind of evil scientist?
I don't think so. I think there was a mad scientist. But like Igor was like this big green dude.
Okay,
with
it sounds familiar.
Bitchin' 70s mustache.
Okay.
And I guess the whole thing, like the through line to the whole series, not that there needed to be one, but the through line to the whole series is they were trying to bring back this Frankenstein thing and whatever.
Right. Okay, and with their songs, did they sing songs and they did bits all the time? And
yeah, like it would go from like, it would kind of like move from room to room. So like Vincent Price would read something, or then the witch would read something, or like the witch would make a potion.
Okay, this is a vague. This is really in the shadows of my memory.
Yeah,
I've seen it, but it wasn't a staple.
Go back and watch a few again. I think they released like the whole series on DVD like a while ago. Not that I'm selling it.
Right.
But you should
fucking shill.
It's only $49.99, plus tax. And
if you click through the banner on our website.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, that was a cool show, and that scared the shit out of me too, because I was little and I had no idea, totally unsupervised watching children's television.
Right.
And like between that and the Letter People.
That sounds familiar too. Or is that a pure Canadian thing?
No, that is a super duper American show.
The Letter People.
We got all of your PBS up here.
Okay.
So there was really no Canadian equivalent to PBS. So we just got everything that you guys got.
All right.
And the Letter People is like, I don't know, like a macabre Muppets show.
What? You're
like,
schooling me here. The Letter People.
All of the Letter People songs are on YouTube.
Okay.
And check out Mr. H. Mr. H.
Oh
is
shit! That's okay. I know.
I think I shared this with you before.
Yeah.
Like
I'm
Mr.
sorry.
It's
Yeah.
super terrifying.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
They showed us the Letter People in school.
Exactly. Yeah. That was
I think
the idea.
I actually like burned that memory out because these Letter People
terrifying.
Yeah. And they all have like some kind of weird square-toothed grin on them.
Oh yeah.
And it's yeah. Okay,
it's just
the Letter
like
People.
A bunch of dirty hippies like
Yes.
invented this like it's actually a pretty brilliant concept for a show. So I guess the idea would be, like we would every episode they would introduce, like a new letter and then, like later on whatever, but like A and B would meet each other at a party.
Okay.
And then they would be like, hi, I'm A. Hi, I'm B.
Yes.
And together we make AB or something. I don't know. But like it was a cool idea, but they had no budget.
Right.
And it was dark.
Yeah.
Like it was just dark all of the time, and all of the puppets were sort of like the shitty, sort of like dirty, just terrible hippie like the sleeping bags or like pillowcases that they brought in and like shoved up.
Exactly.
Stuffed with their shitty hippie. I hate hippies.
Totally.
If you haven't noticed by now. But
I was going to say, like, I remember these in my memory. I remember these things being more like dirty throw pillows that were just painted and sewn up to be the shape of the letter. They weren't actually puppets by any means.
No.
It was really just a shitty, dusty throw pillow that they just mocked up into some shape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really, really.
That's
not suitable for children.
Not at all.
One of my
Sorry,
go ahead.
Except the letter S. I always liked the letter S.
Yeah?
For some reason. Because he looked like he was on his way out. Like he was like the... like he was in the shape like, okay, I'm fucking out of here. I'm sorry.
Yeah, like,
S for sorry. I'm burning out of here.
No, sorry, speaking of your crazy stuff and all of that, I never really had that as a kid. One of my earliest memories of being terrified was, I don't know if you remember a show called Read Along.
Yes.
But yeah, so it was a boot and a shoe. Mm-hmm. Again, this was another PBS thing. Those guys really needed to kind of figure their shit out because like they did a number on me.
Yeah, I mean, like the children's workshop, whatever their hiring techniques were, they need to revise. They needed to revise them.
Yes.
Hardcore.
I agree.
Because they brought in some TV shows that really kind of did a number on us.
Yeah. But anyway, so there's this show called Read Along, and the boot and the shoe talked, and whatever, and they talked about books or reading or whatever the hell. I don't even remember anything really much about that. But like, I remember being like this tiny little boy, like I might have been like 4 or 5, and I'm sitting there in like my babysitter's basement, and the air conditioner's on, so I'm really cold, and it's summer, so I'm wearing shorts, and I'm even colder than that, and it's pitch black, and all of a sudden I'm just watching Reading Along, learning about spelling and stuff, and then all of a sudden the screen goes entirely black, and then there's a little light in the distance.
Okay.
And we're zooming in, I guess. Like we're going further into this tunnel.
Okay.
And we're in the middle of a train tunnel. Like in the middle of this train tunnel. No escape.
Okay.
And like either end, but yeah, you're gonna have to run a bunch, which is like I'm too paralyzed with fear to move.
Yeah.
And this puppety skeleton playing a banjo.
Yes, I remember this.
Yeah, I've been looking.
This.
He starts playing "Dem Bones."
Yes.
He plays the whole song, which I believe is like 6 minutes long or something like that.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I've been looking for that clip on the internet for forever.
Is it not on there?
No, I can't find it because it just terrifies me.
Yeah. Oh yeah. As soon as you said the skeleton playing Dem Bones.
Yeah.
That's rough.
Absolutely terrified me.
Man.
Wow. I've been looking for that.
Crazy.
And then the one that I always talk about, and I think the one that I could probably attribute my my sort of fascination with vampires too, is there was an episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark called Tale of the Midnight Madness.
Okay. Are You Afraid of the Dark is not something that was commonly seen on my side of the river.
Really?
Yeah, in Detroit
it was a Nickelodeon show, but like everything was shot in Canada.
Yeah.
But it was a Nickelodeon show.
Yeah, I didn't have cable back then.
Oh, okay.
And so yeah, I mean, if we had it there, then it was out of my visual grasp. But yeah, growing up, I had never heard of it, and it wasn't until I must have been a teenager when I finally heard about it.
Yeah.
And it was predominantly that was one of the Canadian shows.
Oh,
Kind of
okay.
Degrassi High or something like that. There was Degrassi, there's Are You Afraid of the Dark? There was ABBA.
ABBA? What? Never mind.
It's kind of horrifying.
Street Sense was a great show.
Street Sense. Yes, I've heard of that. I've never seen it.
Jonavision.
Jonavision
was like a bitchin' like talk show for like teens back when I was a teen. It was awesome. Jonavision was a great show.
Is that the guy's name? Was he like
No,
a
it was
cyborg?
Jonathan Torrance. Have you ever seen any Trailer Park Boys?
Yes.
Okay.
Jonathan Torrance.
Yeah.
He had a show. I love it. He's one of my favorite characters.
He was like an amazing talk show host on CBC. I think it was like every day at 5 or 5:30. I'd watch Jonavision. Yeah, he was like a talk show host.
I gotta check that out. That dude kills me.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Cool.
Anyways, so this episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark, The Tale of the Midnight Madness, is this guy gets a job at a movie theater.
Mm-hmm.
No. There's this movie theater that's about to shut down, and then like Mr. Fink or Dr. Fink or whatever his name is shows up, and he's like, I'll make your Dr. Vink. It's like, I'll make your movie theater alive again. Only one night a week you have to show my films. And then his films are all kind of weird and fucked up or whatever.
That's still a great deal.
Yeah, it's a great deal. And so the movie theater is doing really good. But there's like this one vampire movie that they keep on showing.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the vampire comes out of the screen and like, murders people or whatever.
Okay.
Or I guess it's Are You Afraid of the Dark? So it's like it attempts to murder, like it stalks people. Like it, like there is a surprising lack of infanticide on that show for like, I mean, if I had one note.
Okay.
But
producers,
anyways,
listen up for a second.
Yeah, it's the next reboot of Are You Afraid of the Dark? we gotta start killing kids. Yes. Like that. I don't buy it. We're
talking about like razor blades and pillows, okay?
Yeah.
I mean, let's really step it up. We have some fucking work to make up for.
Exactly. Anyways, and I don't know, it was just like the first time I had ever seen like a vampire, like the Nosferatu.
Okay.
It was the first time I had ever seen that, like with the the jagged teeth, and anybody who saw this episode should actually kind of have some idea of how terrifying it was, just because it wasn't like a suitable for children, really. It was suitable for children episode, but like it was way more intense than I found glasses that can see ghosts or whatever. It was just stupid. I mean, whatever. It was kind of a shit show. But yeah, this episode in particular was pretty bananas, I have to say. Yeah. But yeah, like that, and I think that was the last one. After that, my folks got pretty cracked down pretty hard on my on like my horror watching. Really? And and I had to like sneak it in. And I think by the time I was 15, CBC was showing syndicated episodes of Tales from the Crypt. And I was watching all of those.
Yeah,
and
without a doubt.
Yeah, and I don't think a horror movie has ever really scared me, or a horror really anything has ever really scared me since then.
No, same here. I was desensitized pretty early in the game. Yeah. And there's never been like I can understand this feeling of having to sneak in a horror movie while the parents are away or when they're asleep or something like this, but I never actually experienced that for myself because like my mom was always if there was a horror movie on, she would she wouldn't change the channel.
Yeah.
And it was really not so bad. Or they didn't think it was so bad. And my first, I don't know, like I said, with like the Crazies and the Vincent Price movies and Roger Corman, trash fests and things like this. This was all pretty normal weekend viewing. Mm-hmm. So I didn't check them in my head as horror movies. This was just what's on television.
Yeah.
And my first real experience with horror movies, where I knew the movie was a horror movie, I was pretty young. I must have been, I don't know, 7 or 8. And we had just gotten a VCR player.
Years old.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Just for our listeners that operate in months or weeks or whatever. Like
I was about 7 months.
About 7 or 8. So yeah.
Yeah, 7 or 8. I was 7 or 8 years, and my dad had just brought home a VCR player, mm-hmm. and this was some hot shit because, mm-hmm. We didn't have much. We were living in a trailer, but I didn't know it was hard times because Dad did everything he could to keep me a chubby little weirdo with horror movies every weekend.
Yeah.
But then we got this VCR player, and I guess he just couldn't help himself. Like I said in the beginning, like he brought home 3 cassette tapes, and I remember him saying, "Now, son, these movies are a little intense, and if you get scared, then it's okay. You can go to your room. It's no problem. But like I'm young."
Son, we're gonna watch these movies. If it's too much, you can leave.
Exactly. That's what he said. But like I'm just a little kid, and I love my dad. I want to impress him. I want to hang out with him because he's always working all the time. And now today he has a day off, and of course I'm not going to run away from this. It's a movie. Come on. And so we proceed to watch. First was Alien.
Oh wow.
And then Jaws.
Okay.
And then we finish it off with The Thing, with John Carpenter's The Thing.
Yeah. Right on.
And after that, my brain was numb. I was done. I was completely addicted and completely numb to the experience, all in the same stroke.
You think you would just come home with like the secret, like I bought Alien, and I bought Jaws.
Yeah.
And like The Thing is like a far superior movie to both of those, I would argue. But just also come home with like The Fox and the Hound. You got.
Yeah.
Well, I got this thing. Anyways, that's
right.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, and I just sat there like he would lay on his side he would lay it on his side on the couch, and I was small enough to fit in the crook of his legs.
Yeah.
And I just remember like wanting so desperately to just bury my head because like shit was getting crazy on the television screen. And I mean
You had a marathon? Like you watched like
yeah, essentially what is that, like 5.5, 6 hours of just terror, death, running, screaming, burning, melting. Yeah. And yeah, but I didn't. Like I couldn't. Like this was so exhilarating to keep my eyes on the screen, and that I did it. Like I was thinking, like I bet my dad is thinking that I'm pretty cool, and this was enough.
Let's take a musical break while I call child services.
Retroactively get some people put in the right place.
Yeah, you no longer have custody of your 35-year-old son. Like
oh man.
I've already sort of I've begun creating a playlist for my child, for his nursery. Right and on. Really and truly, it's more or less just like Dead Kennedys are totally on there.
Yeah.
Because it's great. It's great music.
Totally.
There's no. Honestly, my perception, the I don't know if you ever saw those things. I think they had an infomercial on, but there was a series of records released where it was just there's a choir of children. there's no such thing as a choir of children that's ever on key. They're just always sort of just like, meh, meh, meh.
Yeah.
Like even just like, like
Yeah.
even The Wall by Pink Floyd. Like,
Right.
It's just a bunch of shitty kids being like, no. Like it's just the worst thing in the world.
I think that's part of the charm. Like it's a requisite. If they ever get into key all at the same time, I think the conductor is supposed to throw some tax at them or something.
Stop. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was this thing on TV like years and years and years ago, but it was like an infomercial, like selling this record that was like 80 children singing traditional children's songs like The Wheels on the Bus.
Oh,
And like Mary Had a Little Lamb.
How long ago was this?
I don't even care to remember. Like
Okay.
it was a while ago. I think it was maybe 15 or 16 years ago.
This sounds
like,
kind of familiar too.
For me, hell would just be like trapped in a room with that record on repeat. Like it's just the worst. I don't understand. It's like, he's just a stupid kid. Well, like don't record him then.
Yeah.
Like let's just get 100 kids in a room, feed them all chocolate and soda.
Right.
And just get them to belt out The Wheels on the Bus. Like, it's just the dumbest shit in the world. Like, I couldn't imagine sitting in a car and listening to that shit.
Yeah.
Like, anyways.
Yeah, who would put a microphone in a room like that? Why would they do
like
that?
a sadist. Like, that's...
Right.
A sadist or a masochist, because they can't enjoy it themselves. I don't know.
Right.
Just bananas.
Oh, man.
Total bananas.
Do you have movies on your kids' playlist on a little iPad? You're gonna fix to his crib.
I don't think any of them are horror movies. Kind of for the same reason. Kind of for the same reason we discussed. Where like, I don't necessarily, I don't want him to watch like The Reanimator and freak out. Not that there's any reason to.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, I really don't think that's that big a deal.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm sure that when I don't know, like maybe when he's like 10 or 11, I can start sort of indoctrinating him in what I believe to be the greatest horror movies.
That sounds smart. Yeah, I like that.
But yeah, it's not like he's going to be 3 and I'm going to throw on The Exorcist or anything like that. Like, that's no good for anyone.
It's true. No one needs that.
No one needs that. But yeah, no, I got some movies on there, but I mean, like the horror movies made specifically for children are always pretty brutal.
I agree. It's true. Like, I remember seeing a few of them as a kid, and let me tell you, the one that really drilled a hole in my head, I think the most, was Something Wicked This Way Comes from 1982. Yeah, I think so. And this movie, it's a Disney movie. I think it was produced by Disney, but it's not necessarily like a Disney as you like it kind of movie. And it was shown to us not by my parents. This was shown to us by my aunt, or I think it was my aunt. Anyway, like all the cousins were in one place at one time for some kind of family, whatever. And so they just put us in a room, put this on the TV, and this movie it's fucked. Like, it's terrifying. This was
written by Ray Bradbury.
Yeah.
This is a movie specifically for children.
Yes.
Really?
It's a children's movie.
I haven't seen this. Yeah.
It has children stars. Like the two main actors are kids. You sympathize with them and their plight, and I mean, it's horrifying what these kids go through.
Really?
And there's one dude who comes into town with his carnival, and the big thing is he has this carousel which can make you young again, or it can make you old. And Jason Robards is the grandfather of one of the kids. Mm-hmm. And like there's this whole plot of this dude stealing all the children of towns, and he has tattoos of the children's faces on his hands, and they wake up and their beds are full of giant spiders, and it's really terrifying. Like I know I'm being kind of vague with the examples because it really just kind of scrubbed my eyes against a wall of horror
Really?
when I saw it. Yeah, and even now, like it's some creepy shit. But it's pure for sure made for children. And I don't know who okayed this, but I mean this movie ranked up there with my normal horror experiences as a child.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't discern that, okay, this is an adult movie that I'm allowed to watch for whatever reason, and this is a children's movie. Like when I saw it, it was the same genre.
I don't. Yeah, no, I never had that experience as like a child. You know?
Okay.
Like I mean, or even as an adult watching children's horror movies. Like I don't know. Like all I can think of is like Ernest Scared Stupid, and like
Right.
and like Monster Squad.
Right on. And real quick, the only consolation, well, two consolations. One, the movie Something Wicked This Way Comes is a really good movie. Even though it's terrifying, it's really good.
We're not trying to sell Something
No.
Wicked This Way Comes.
Not yet.
Like it's, you know, you can
No,
find
I'm
it
not
for
trying to sell them.
$8.99 on DVD.
Exactly. And $12.99 on Blu-ray if you act fast.
If you're nasty.
Yeah, if you're nasty. And the second consolation, which I was too young to know this person's name, but I still recognize the majesty, is Pam Grier is in Something Wicked This Way Comes.
Oh, really?
And she makes everything a little better.
She's lovely.
Oh.
She's a nice lady.
Yeah. The nicest.
I mean, yeah.
Oh,
I love Pam Grier.
yeah.
Let's just take a minute to sort of think about Pam Grier. She's beautiful. I love her. She's a really nice lady. I follow her on Twitter. She's a really nice Twitterer. Yeah.
I think so too.
Yeah. Not
She's
that I'm
super
trying to
cool.
promote Pam Grier's Twitter account, but
No.
you should follow her. Yeah.
Yeah, but if you want to buy her collected memoirs, you can act now on Amazon.
Yeah, no, I remember being not like an early teen, but like a mid to late teen.
Okay.
And my buddy and I rented The Darkness with Anna Paquin. I think that's...
Yeah, I've only heard of this movie, but I've never seen it.
Let me look this up. After the whole...
Barry Salmon
Barry Salmon debacle. That's a funny story.
Who in the world is Barry Salmon?
Yeah, I'm just gonna start that up. Yeah, not The Darkness, just regular old Darkness.
Oh, okay.
It was this, really weird sort of macabre setup where like there's a bunch of I guess there was like it's been so long, but it was like a mass child suicide or like slaughter in this old house to like do this ritual, and I think they needed like one more kid, but it didn't pan out or something like that.
That's a hardcore opening.
Yeah, no, it's a messed up movie. But anyways, so like Anna Paquin and her shitty friends or something like that, or her brother, I don't even care. This movie's terrible. But they discover this, hidden history of the house, and there are ghosts for some reason, and they start flipping out, and nobody dies. And it's like the movie's so freaking long. It's so freaking long, and literally nobody dies. It's 88 goddamn minutes long, and it's like
rip.
It's just boring. It's just people running away from ghosts for I don't know how long. Terrible movie.
That
Terrible
sounds pretty bad.
teen horror nonsense.
And this is the early 90s, yeah?
No, this was 2002 actually.
Oh, it sounds so much like an early 90s jam.
No, they were still fucking knocking it out of the park in the early 90s, like insofar as horror and stuff like that was concerned. Like they still knew what was going on. But oh man, Darkness is such a goddamn terrible movie.
Okay.
But yeah, like I remember being, I mean, that doesn't really count. I was gonna say I remember portions of The Exorcist sort of scaring me, but that doesn't really count as children's horror.
Right.
But yeah, like for the most, like I mean,
not really. I mean,
not really. I mean, there's a child involved.
I mean, come on.
There's masturbation with a crucifix, but like other than those 2 points, like there's no.
I mean, there's a child in it.
Yeah.
If that counts for anything.
If that counts for anything, yeah. And like we've all pleasured ourselves with a
course.
crucifix. But like other than
Yeah,
that,
I mean, like any port in a storm. Sometimes, you know.
other than that, there's really nothing to tie it to.
That's
To
true.
that. But yeah, no, I'm just like I remember even being old enough to know that Gremlins 2, or to like I don't know, mature enough, I should say, to know that Gremlins 2 was very much a satire of stuff. Like Gremlins 2
Yes.
wasn't scary.
Not in the least.
No.
Satires. It's really a satire movie.
Yeah.
But the first Gremlins, however, like that's a horror movie.
Really?
I think so.
Okay.
I thought so.
Yeah.
I think it's. I mean, it's Joe. One is Joe Dante. I mean, he has to. Like, this dude can't help himself. He has to slip in some transgressive, like aggressive kind of stuff into every movie he does.
Mm-hmm.
And I love him for it. Like, I'm really happy that he made this movie. Like, I remember growing up and all the Christmas movies were so mind-numbingly boring or pathetic that I couldn't sympathize with anyone, because I just wanted them all to just fall off a cliff, because I don't give a shit about these whiny assholes who, I don't know, just like all the movies back then, and maybe even now, I don't watch holiday themed movies, because it's just a bunch of losers who need to pull themselves up by the bootstraps and get on with their life and stop whining about whatever travesty has befallen them. And I mean, come on. But
that's
it's time for cheer.
Yeah, great.
To celebrate life.
I love Christmas movies. I'm not
sorry.
No, it doesn't matter. But I
can't deal with them. It's always about some dude who lost
just a bunch
something.
of fucking losers being fucking happy with their goddamn fucking families. Just a bunch of fucking goddamn stupid fucking families just trying to be fucking happy together. For Christ's sake.
I mean, come on, get a new song in your fucking playlist. Jesus. And so then we finally got Gremlins, and I mean, these are it's essentially.
Okay? Are you okay today? You seem really. Anyway, sorry, you were saying we got Gremlins.
Yeah, Gremlins. Like I finally got a Christmas movie with cool stuff in it. Not someone crying about losing their mom or their wife or their husband or whatever. I can't get home for Christmas and no one loves me. And now we have like, oh my God, there's a little lizard creature trying to kill me. Happy Christmas.
The last, all of the things that you have said in just the last, like, I don't know, like 20 minutes would be a great essay for a psychologist. Like, my father came home one day, showed me Alien, Jaws and The Thing, back to back to back. And even though I was terrified, I couldn't leave. And then moving on, it's like, families at Christmas are stupid. They're just stupid. Sorry, I just wanted to point that out for all of our listeners.
Yeah,
I love you very, very much. By the way,
I love you too.
All right,
and we love you, listeners. We're just open books here.
I've never met you. I just, you're cool, you guys. Anyways, Rob, you were talking about Gremlins.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and so Gremlins. Yeah. Then now we have this movie, and I think it's a horror movie.
Yeah.
It's definitely it's light fare in the horror genre.
Of course, yeah.
But I think it really rests right. It's on the border. It's inside the border of horror, and I really dig that. Same with, what did you mention? Monster Squad.
Monster Squad, really?
I don't think it's a horror movie, but it's like this. I think if you're gonna make a children's horror movie, that one they did pretty good. Like this, it's not scary. It's a movie you can show to your, I don't know, I think you could go as low as 8 years old with Monster Squad.
Really? I think I remember there being a swear. I think there was a swear in there.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I know that times have changed, but
yeah.
I think I watched that movie again. Like after I was watching episodes of Are You Afraid of the Dark and like PBS and like losing my mind over
Right.
there. Like my parents were like, "Oh, okay, I don't think this kid's allowed to watch anything anymore." Like if this kid, what used to scare the crap out of me actually? Remember at the end of Sesame Street, the bells? There was this that used to just scare the Jesus out of me.
Really?
Yeah, and so so that was the kid.
Okay.
And then that was the kid. Like, maybe let's not show Friday the 13th to this kid.
Okay.
Like, I think that's okay. So yeah, so I didn't see a lot of these movies until kind of like after the fact. And I remember watching Monster Squad and just being like, this is just sort of like, it's kind of weird, like oddly violent for a children's movie.
That I'll agree with. It's a little uneven in that respect. Like the jokes, the dialogue, the turns of the plot. It's all very dumbed down for kids. Yeah. But then whenever someone gets hit or if there's violence, like they forgot to dumb that part down. Yeah. Whoever was in charge of the choreography and special effects, like they were not in on the memo circuit.
Yeah. I remember I wrote a screenplay once. It was just a short little film, but the whole idea was like, you know, when you go down to the basement when you're a kid is sort of a scary thing no matter what. Like the air is stale and it's usually dark. Yeah. And whatever, you know, like any number of reasons. Like the basement is sort of a scary sort of a place. Yeah. But there was I guess the whole idea was that there were these two brothers who, when they were kids, thought that there was a monster living in the stove. Okay. In like this old like wood stove in their parents' basement. Right on. And you know, they had like all of like the weird kind of like kooky sort of trapsy sort of stuff. You know, like, oh, we got to kill the monster. And they went downstairs with like their flashlights and their magic plastic swords and all that stuff. And the monster came out and bludgeoned one of the brothers like really, really badly. Okay. So much in fact that he suffered like, you know, like irreparable brain damage, and he was essentially stunted. Like he was like kind of like 5 years old. I think he was the older brother. Okay. He was like 8 years old forever. And so when they grew up, awesome. Like the parents had died, and the younger brother comes back to like care for his older brother and put him in a home or something like that. But the older brother still sees the stove man because he's like effectively 8 years old. Okay. I thought that was kind of a cool really movie. Good. I thought it was a cool movie. I thought it was a cool movie. We were about to do it. It was you know, we were kids, and I mean, you know, like young, like early 20s, and like we didn't have the resources to make a movie about. We couldn't afford a wood stove, like no matter what. Like there's no chance. Like, you know, right? There needed to be a stove, like more than anything else.
You don't want to do like forced perspective of like a drawing of a stove in your notebook, and you just hold that like really close in the foreground, and then everyone else is in the background pretending they're looking at the stove.
Where were you 10 years ago? That would have been awesome. Yeah. I think I don't know. I don't know if horror for children really works all that much. I like the thing that I always sort of didn't really understand is like, why would, like, okay, murder is scary. Being murdered is a scary thing.
Totally.
Regardless of whether you are 50 or 11 years old. Like, I think no matter what, being murdered is a scary thing. Yes. Worried about being murdered is scary.
Agreed.
So why dull that down anymore? It's like, oh no, like only being boogied. Like, you know, like if I'm 11 years old, it's like, like I'm watching the movie to kind of be scared. Right. Why is this murderer just trying to scare me? Like, I don't understand. Like, I don't know.
That's a good point. Like,
it's just really weird.
When you put it as directly as that, like horror for children, it's really it's a nonsensical motivation. It's like there's really no reason for it. Like, why scare the children with something that's like murder or harming you or harming your parents or something? It's just it's nothing you want to do. Like, why? Yeah, it doesn't help anything. It doesn't make the kids stronger by any means. So like to take something that's really so I don't know, that can either be complex or as simple, you know, but like something like horror, it's made for an adult brain that can process.
No, it's just made for a human brain. It's just made for a human brain. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but a human brain that has a few things in it already. But like a child's brain, there's no reason to introduce it to those kind of ideas. So like, why would you? If it happens, it happens. Like in my case, like I was introduced to horror movies, but they were pure horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
But to take this kind of idea of horror and then try to bang it into a shape that's suitable for children, it's a contradiction.
Well, look at the Grimm's fairy tales, and like that was essentially horror for children. You know what I mean? And they were allegories and life lessons and all that stuff. Where it's like if you get lost, don't just go knocking on a goddamn door.
Right.
Like basically don't talk to strangers. Like don't be a shitty kid, or else you're gonna die horribly. Like a witch is gonna eat you, 100%.
Right.
So and it was that stuff. It's just sort of scaring kids into behaving. Which
these are good. Like these, I agree with. And I'm not scaring kids into behaving.
That's what I'm gonna do. Oh yeah, you have no idea. No, but I think that not to get too real or to end this on like a psychological note or anything like that, because frickin' The Thing is a wicked movie, and I don't think I learned anything from it.
No, no, I think all my posturing about horror for children and doesn't work and contradiction. I'm really only talking about contemporary horror.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Like there's no point in having I know exactly what you mean. Where it doesn't to try to separate the adult horror and the children's horror, like maybe just don't show your kids horror movies if that's a problem. It's like, oh, that's too scary. That's too scary for Billy. But we'll show him this sort of like watered down version of that movie, and we'll see he could stand that. No, don't do that. Like just
skip the whole thing,
or just show him the terrible truth. Like there's no reason. Exactly. There's no reason to put training wheels on your Exorcist movie.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, I think that more or less covers it. I think, Rob and I talk about stuff like this all the damn time. I know that we'll come back to it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, if you guys want to throw in any of your comments about, I don't know, any weird TV shows or anything like that scared you as a kid, like in the comments in there, that would be awesome, because I know that Rob and I would really, really like to see that. And
early memories from whether it's movies, TV, just whatever startled you or sticks in your head.
Yeah,
I would really like to hear that. There's I read something that this was for me as well. Like I've totally forgotten the beginning of the episode. Is there was something that terrified me as a kid, and I had nightmares from it. And my nightmare was of a small doll, and it was like covered in this weird thick hair, and it was maybe the size of a small bottle, And in my nightmare, I would wake up, and I would come out of my room, and then at the other end of the house, my dad or my mom would wake up, and they would come out of their room. And the way the house was, we could see all the way through the house to each other's room. And this doll would be on the coffee table in the living room in the middle. And I knew that if my mom or dad moved, the doll would wake up and kill them. And this just terrified me. And I would have another nightmare where I was going to go in the bath, take a bath with, it was bath time. And then I would go in there, and my mom would come with me, and then the doll would stand up out of the bath. And I knew it was going to kill my mom. It was always going to kill someone. Yeah. And then I saw the movie, as an adult, I saw the movie Trilogy of Terror with Karen Black.
Okay.
And this is one of these, crappy anthology movies. And the last
such thing. But anyways, go ahead.
Yes, sorry.
That's my favorite period genre of movie. You're dead to me.
I mean, crappy in a very endearing term. Like, and it's strike the crappy part. Like, they're really fun. I really dig them.
I love anthology movies.
Yeah.
All right, anyways, go ahead. This the wine bottle sized hairy doll.
Yeah, it's the last act of the whole thing is Karen Black. She receives a fetish doll, an African fetish doll, in the mail, and she opens it, and this doll proceeds to terrorize her, and it's kind of creepy, you know, but by our nullified senses now, it's not so scary, but it's good. And then, you know, I was so shocked that like this thing seemed so familiar, and I thought that's it, like that's the source of the nightmares from when I was a child. And then I went online and I plugged in, you know, Trilogy of Terror, fetish doll, and actually people of our generation, there is a rash of childhood nightmares with an unnamed, unsourced
African fetish doll.
Yeah, African fetish doll. And it's only since we've all become adults that when we saw Trilogy of Terror that we realized, holy shit, like this one 15-minute story was responsible for, you know, an entire plague of nightmares. And we were so young, we had no idea it was this movie. And why our parents showed us this, or, you know, why weren't they watching us? Who knows? It's beside the fact. It's over and done with.
You ruined my punchline to your setup, where I was going to say I had the same dream because it was so ridiculous. But apparently that, you know, it was this whole thing, and if you know, that would be a weird thing to say. But yeah. That's messed up. I mean, you know, there's the whole idea of, what was her name? Adam's first wife. I forget her name all of the time. I want to say it was something Adam's first wife, but yeah, there's this whole thing where you so I guess the whole story is that Adam had a wife before Eve. Lilith, yes, thank you very much. Adam had a wife before Eve. Some weird shit went down. Lilith refused to essentially have sex in the missionary position, which angered both God and Adam.
Right.
And understandably so.
Yeah.
Yeah, no one... never mind.
She liked to bang nasty. She's a freaky girl.
Yeah, and so they gave birth to a whole... something like hundreds of demon babies. Like, literally hundreds of demon babies.
Yeah.
Before God and Adam were all like, you know what, like, this isn't going to work. Like, this isn't going to work for us. Yeah. And... Lilith was like, you know what, forget it. And she left with her hundreds of demon babies. And God was like, you guys, you got to come back. Like, you're married to this dude. There's only two of you. Like, you need to come back and do this. And Lilith's like, I'm not. This is ridiculous. And so God started killing her demon babies. Oh. Like, to try to convince her to come back. And she's like,
what a dick.
No. You're killing my babies. I'm not going to come back and work for you. Right. Like, you're just killing babies. I don't want to work for a baby killer.
Yeah.
And killed all the demon babies. And I guess, and I've met at least one dude who's had, like, an imaginary friend as a kid who's just been this woman in like a red robe, which I guess is like a pretty common imaginary friend for kids.
Okay.
And I guess the urban legend or urban myth or whatever you want to call it is that this is Lilith, and she will eventually lead you, the kid, to your death as revenge for God killing all of these demon babies of hers.
Okay.
So that's kind of messed up.
Yeah, totally.
That's kind of messed up. Anyways, let's. I think we should sign off. I think this was a really great episode, and
totally.
I'm really happy about it. But yeah, if you have anything to add, we really, really want to hear it in the comments. If you have some freaky stuff that scared you as a kid, or if you want to chime in on horror movies, or if you had an African fetish doll nightmare, or anything like that, really want to hear from you guys. We don't want the dialogue to stop right now.
Yeah, totally. Email us at bighumandead@gmail.com, or hit us up on Twitter at WaterlooGN. And
yeah. Is there a comment section to this? Does that happen? Can we have comments underneath our podcast? Is that?
I think there could be.
Possibly.
Possibly.
Hell, let's do it.
Yes. If you're finding us on iTunes or on any of the other podcast websites, then yeah, subscribe so we don't miss you next week.
Yeah.
And I'm sure if there's a comment section, say something.
Write a note.
Yeah.
Throw it into the air. We'll get
Yes.
it eventually.
Super glue it to your screen.
Just scream it loud enough, and we'll
Yeah.
hear you.
Totally.
Yeah.
And tell a friend if you like it.
Yeah.
If you like the show.
Yeah. Good night, Rob.
Good night, buddy.
Yeah.